Good morning, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the weekly energies with today's Monday's Musings on the 17th of February 2025. This video was originally a push the button and get on with it type video, and that initially felt like the energy that was coming through this week. That it wasn't about overcomplicating things, that there was a potential we could end up not doing things because we want it to be a certain way. The video then had a theme of repetition, pointing out flaws and things, excuse me, as you can hear I have yet another cold which I will get to in a moment, pointing out flaws and things that were obvious that no longer needed to be pointed out. This video then went on, this was all before I even started the tape really, this video then went on to feel into the humour that was needed, desperately needed this week. I've just finished watching a post of astrology about the moon today on the 17th being in Libra and then in Scorpio, and about there being heavy energies. Now, I'm not one to placate what we're going through with reasons solely externally. However, last week's reading, all the cards were upside down, right? And I will get to that in a moment, but it was some interesting vibrations, shall we say, last week. And lastly, before finally starting this video, I've had to turn down the heating in my environment. I've had to look at the pressure in the environment and what needs to be changed in order for me to be comfortable enough to allow the energy to come through in a way that is right. And that doesn't actually include not caring about what is being said or not controlling what is being said. It's not about not being a conscious creator this week. It's not about stepping out of the way. It's about being very aware with what is coming through and what we are not sharing, but what we are adding to and collaborating with as a result. I hear the word project manager. Whose projects are we managing? Okay, so a few things have been coming through over the weekend. This last week, post full moon in Leo, there has been a real emphasis of the impact of overstretching, not only on the people that are overstretching, but on those that aren't matching that frequency in what they are prepared to give to others and to themselves. There's been a collective awareness of imbalance that has been necessary so that we can look at the roles that we are individually playing within the collective. You know, last week was a real toughie. I can't speak for anyone else, but it was a real toughie for me, emotionally and with my mental health last week, because there was a lot of previous stories coming to the forefront, but they came to the forefront with such intensity. At one point, I felt like I would be lost in them. I would say it was very much a dark night of the soul last week for many, myself included. But what really came to fruition with that was the knowing that this level of intensity only occurs right before there's a change, and the deep essence behind what completion actually is this whole year. There's going to be a temptation, I can feel it myself, to suggest that some people are further ahead than others. I'm feeling it myself, but this week is very much about focusing on what that actually means then. You know, what does this arrival of information ahead of its time mean? What is actually being asked of us with that? Whether that's we are fitter than others, or whether that's we saw things coming that are now arriving, whether that's energetically we're aware of what may be happening later on in the year, whatever that may be. Why is that coming? What are we being asked to do about that? So for me this week, I've been made very aware of my own, as I say, my own roles within certain narratives within the collective. None more so, and it makes me quite emotional actually, than the division between higher and lower energies, the light and the dark. I pride myself on being, as much as I can, all-encompassing of these energies. I am continuously shown where there's room for improvement. And I humbly open to that because it's part of my journey, part of my process. I'm not suggesting everybody do the same. However, this week we may feel quite a level of frustration and discomfort if we continue to externally look at things rather than the reflection of what they are internally. Now, that's not to say everything is where we're at. Again, that's that discernment and that compartmentalizing of what has actually occurred and what we have discovered. It's not about going over the repetition. It's about looking at the environment for us and what may need to be transmuted in order to feel more comfortable in the new roles that are coming through. They may feel like they're new roles. However, it's like many have had to act out a certain persona, a certain role, a certain way of being so that other energies could find their place as well. All the world's a stage, right? That is changing this week. And with that, a lot of stories that relied on the old narrative, yes, are changing too. So it's one thing to talk about old paradigms and old structures and old situations crumbling. However, they will crumble within us also. So being very aware of that and our role in that, with curiosity and with humour. Normally I add that as a little bit of a balm, but actually I'm being really shown the importance of that. Some of the messages that have come through this week, but this morning in particular, in regards to seeing joy as an essential component of ascension. Say that all in one go. Okay, so the biggest thing that has been made aware to me this week, there's been my own individual processes within it, but the biggest thing that's been made aware to me this week that I'm being asked to discuss and bring to the table is the division between the more angelic galactic energies and the more shamanic energies, the higher vibrational energies and the earth energies. I firmly believe there is no division. When you study aspects such as the Moonai Key or the Peruvian, I can't speak for the other types of shamanism because I haven't studied them, but in this lifetime, but the Peruvian way of being with the earth, all of these elements are included. You know, there's a worshipping of the sun, but there's a worshipping of light. There's a understanding of love that runs through all things, and that's called the moon eye, the power of love. There's a universal law of reciprocity. Now, that isn't unbalanced. That is, you give what you receive and vice versa. Within those elements, yes, there is a worship of the land and an understanding of the land and a working of the land, but anybody that has studied the Moonai Key will also understand the rights to come and the wisdom keepers. These are all energies of a higher vibration as well, including the archangels and the galactic brothers and sisters. As far as I'm concerned, there is no division, and I pride myself on that. This week, I have seen beautifully more and more combinations of these energies occurring. More and more people that would be in one field of expertise working with those in another, and it's a beautiful thing to see. But I would be lying if it didn't cause a conflict within me, an agitation within me. So this week, I've been encouraged to feel into that. To take this awareness and acknowledge what is going on with us without judgment, curiosity, because there's something in there that is being asked of all of us to be the bridge between these different energies now, not just in how we talk or what we offer, but in who we are. And it's here I came face to face with my own truth, not a truth that I haven't known for some time, that I have a resistance to the light. I have a resistance to the lighter energies. I am far more comfortable working with tangible, earth-based physicalities than what I am unicorn realms, dragon realms, and angelic realms. Even though I have studied the Moonai Key, even though I am a Metatron teacher, even though I connect to dragons and other energies, I have in my logical understanding resistance there. And this week I was shown the impact of that and my responsibility with that. And the beauty that things are unraveling as they need to anyway. So an example, for over a year now I've had a, I want to say nagging, It is a nagging. It's a yearning. Yeah, okay, a yearning in my body to heal the rift, the wound that I have with these higher energies, with spirit as such, with the masculine. No, because the feminine is our body, the masculine is spirit. And as a result, I've been drawn to do angelic Reiki, and I've been waiting for things to fall into place with that. Well, it turns out that the first stage is actually going to be happening before the new moon this month, but also before the planetary parade, the planetary alignment. That feels really important, that we are being encouraged to bridge the gap, to align the planets within us, to recognize that all of our energy centers aren't 100% as they could be, not should be, but could be. To acknowledge where there may be conflict with areas within us based on where we feel comfortable. It's really hard sometimes, or at least we can believe that it's really hard sometimes to leave our comfort zone. And we can end up doing things that are exactly the same as what we're already doing, a bit more expansive, but they're still the same as what we're already doing, and they're still growing that role. In that role is a comfort zone. To expand beyond that, to look at the things that we may be avoiding for the wisdom and the missing pieces that they can bring us this week. Collectively, we are seeing emergence of energies. Collectively, we are seeing roles being shifted, stories being played out and coming to a completion. Individually, I can only speak for myself, individually, there's a lack there of alignment to what is going on in our environment. Why is that important? Well, some of the things that were coming through this morning is we don't recognize how more simple things can be, how more direct things can be, how more aligned things can be, because we're not acknowledging the other part. So if you're somebody that is more into the angelic realm, by not acknowledging the shamanic roots, that is high potential, with the earthbound energies, we can have that growth. If you're somebody that works with the earth all the time but not the higher energies, there's a risk that you can get really submerged in what is going on an earthly physical level and not be able to tap into those lighter energies that are needed. It's all one and the same, right? But it's about acknowledging where we may have become disenchanted with the opposite energies and why, because in there is the shift in the very roles and stories that we have been playing out. So some of the things that came through this morning from the higher energies, because with curiosity I thought, that's it, okay, I shall connect, let's see what these relationships will bring. Some of the wisdom that was coming through with Archangel Michael this morning, so first and foremost, it's really important to acknowledge what these energies mean to you. Your discernment of them. That's going to be really important, because there's no point you connecting to angelic energy if you're doing so through a human channel or version of that doesn't resonate with your belief of what that may be. If you're connecting to an energy that is just reflecting back your wound with that. So for me, an example, a lot of angelic energy is seen in a very light, floofy way. And that doesn't resonate with me, because that isn't the connection that I have with the higher energies. If anything, they can be quite transformative and quite intense sometimes. So for me to connect to energies that portray that other side of them, because that's still a side of them, the lighter, more gentle side is still a side of them, but for me to connect to that, I'm connecting to my wound with that, not the actual energy that I know. So really, really important this week that if you're going to take your studies and your understandings further, that you connect to a human version of that teaching that relates to where you are, okay? Not necessarily your wounds. One of the things that came through with Archangel Michael this morning, when I sat with the angelic energy, is to recognize what they mean for me. For me, the angelic energy is a blueprint or potential of our greatest, potential. So everything has an archangel energy. Everything has an angelic energy. Everything has a blueprint or a highest version that they can be. So for every element of protection, over that is Archangel Michael, and vice versa. Now that is because I have a scientific mind and I like to work with that logic. Finding your own way is really, really important this week in particular. What is it you are trying to connect to within you, the wisdom within you? So I am a crazy scientist. That would make sense that that's how I connect to things. What came through when I felt into that, when I asked Archangel Michael this morning about protection, what came through for me wasn't I need protection from good, bad, evil, whatever. It wasn't about being separate. It was about recognizing that for me personally, and actually collectively, the need for protection comes from not acknowledging our own needs. When we don't acknowledge our own needs, when we push that part of ourselves to one side that requires that, we are making ourselves very holy. When we make ourselves very holy, we are then open to other energies of that same wound coming in. So the first step towards protection is to acknowledge what you need. What do you need protection from? Why do you need protection? What is actually going on here? There's a real invitation this week to take the connections deeper, to work alongside these energies, to really look at the expansion that is available by being the bridge within you first. That was the first step to any protection we may think we require. Acknowledge our needs. One of the greatest gifts we can do for ourselves is to stand in what it is we need and not waver with that. Excuse me, I'll get to the cold in a moment. The second thing that I got was actually from Archangel Gabriel, and that was about remembering the communication with the body. So this is where we will talk about the cold, but the communication with the body and the environment as a valid part of translation. We must remember the joy. We can often get caught up in, oh, I have a cold, this is happening to me. Trust me, last week I was like, my second cold in less than a month. I've gone 10 years without being poorly, other than certain pandemics. My second cold in less than a month. Yes, of course, on a human level, I was not impressed. On a deeper level, yes, it gave me a chance to take stock, to pause, to be, but I could also feel that there were things shifting through me collectively. Take a moment to feel into that. That's pretty impressive, right? Yes, we are affected by our environment. That's pretty impressive. If the earth is going through things and we are mirroring that, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of wisdom rising. There's a lot of clearing going on. There's a lot of galactic energies coming in. There's a lot of shifting and cleansing going on with our systems, which we can get really caught up in the understanding of it, which I'm all for. I'm all for the understanding of things, but not without your own learned experience as well. Otherwise, it's knowledge. It's not wisdom, it's knowledge. Bringing back the joy of the fact that we communicate with our environment, that we adapt and evolve to our environment, that we are not separate from our environment, that we are not alone. That includes all elements. That includes the shamanic energy, that includes the angelic energy, that includes the elements, that includes the plants, the two-legged, the four-legged, the many-legged. Look at that team that we are part of and find the joy, because finding the joy, I feel that in my heart. Whew, gosh, it's like a release. Finding the joy of that remembrance is really going to change how we translate what is going on. It could be a cold, which it is on a very 3D level, and that's not to discriminate against that, but there's more to that. It's also a clearing. There's also a lot of wisdom that is coming back for me. There's also a lot of space being made for other energies. There's also a lot going on with the earth, with her waters, and I am honoured to know that my body is responding to that I'm that connected to the earth. We all are. Finding that joy and that awe is really important in how we communicate. Something else that came through from Archangel Jeremiah, which completely different energy for me, and trusting the completely different energy that's coming through. Obviously afterwards I had a good old Google to see if this related to whether I was making it up, and that's part of the beautiful curiosity, but being open, just because it's different doesn't mean it's not true. Okay, so one of the things that came through was allowing all of this communication to expand the light through which all light is seen. in the third eye. So allowing all these changes that are occurring to shift any blocks, any stagnant emotions, any stagnant view of our own psyche and our own place in that, allowing that to be shifted this week. Archangel Raphael also came through this morning. Again, remembering the joy and the wisdom and the purpose of that within any healing. Too often, and I've added to this narrative over the years, not over the last few years, but definitely earlier on, there is this belief that as healers we are here to suffer. The wounded healer, right? The whole archetype of the wounded healer is that it never gets better. Chiron never heals himself. And there is this story of a heaviness when it comes with healing. There is this story of a depth that is often disassociated from the joy of life that comes with the ability to see and the responsibility of that. I'm not saying that isn't the case, but that isn't all of it. Remembering the purpose of joy, remembering the purpose of wisdom, experience within that. The other thing that came through was from Archangel Zadkiel, to trust in the body. There is a big opportunity to heal any wounds that we have with our body. You know, it reminds me of the analogy when we give birth, right? When we give birth to a child, even if that child is wanted, that child has caused more pain on a physical level to the human body than anything else it will experience. And yet there is great pressure to fall in love with that child immediately. And when that isn't always the case, we end up with things like postnatal depression. That's not the whole reason, obviously. But there are factors and pressures in our environment that make us assume we should suddenly be in love with everything that is occurring. That may not always be the case. It is an opportunity this week to heal any separation we have from our body because it may have been painful. Any disassociation that may have come along, particularly with our soul, because, you know, it's one thing to say we are here to learn X, Y, Z. It doesn't mean it isn't always hard. This is a great opportunity to heal that rift this week. There is an opportunity of transformation here, but it is about acknowledging the words here. Well, just as the sirens sing to the sea, so too can we speak to our own body. On a cellular level, we are the guardians of this body. We are connected to the elements within this body. We are the mirror of the earth of our body. We have the power on a cellular level to think about what it is we need from our body and have this two-way conversation. It isn't solely about what the body needs from us, but what we need from our body too. One of the final stages of healing is the physical level. If there are things this week that you have been really trying and almost have come to the stage where you can do no more in regards to your physicality and your healing, speak to your body. Right, body, this is what I need. On a cellular level, I've done this, this and this. This is what I need you to do. And I did actually see with Zadkiel being able to speak to the cells themselves. I then connected to Heniel, and actually that message was more for me. This week, recognizing there are some insights that are for you, some insights that are for the collective, and being able to discern them and discern the energy is really going to impact what we're able to receive and what we're able to then give. Okay, so back to the cold, because it is bringing me back to this cold. There are a lot of suggestions externally at the moment about what is going on in the environment and the impact that that is having. This week, there is a great opportunity to look at what is going on for your body. Yes, as a result, but what is actually going on for you on your own trajectory, on your own timeline. What roles, what narratives, what stories have outplayed now. For me personally, this is all third eye related. There's been a few times where it's gone onto my chest, excuse me, and certain things have come up that needed to be shifted. But for the most part, it's been third eye related. It's also been, I have ulcers in the roof of my mouth. Well, this is the gateway to the third eye. I have an ancestral history of hair, lip and cleft palate. There has been damage alongside my ancestral line with that gateway, and that is what I'm shifting this week. Acknowledging the vital importance of your role. Yes, there is a lot going on externally. Don't get lost in that. Feel into what is going on for you as well, and acknowledge just how important you are to the external. Every week, I will do a reading into the weekly energies, which is what I will do in a moment. There are many things that I could read into. There are many insights that are given about many different things. I recognise, much as that may be more interesting and may take me down a different path and may at one point come, for now my role is and always has been about helping people reach their potential, which means bringing it back to the individual. Yes, speaking about the collective, and the moon is doing this and this is doing this, but only to support the individual and where they may be at. For me, that is my purpose as a soul midwife, and there are times when I stray from that. There are times when I believe that that may not be enough, or that that may not be reaching the people that it needs to reach. This week, really feeling into any insecurities you may have in your role by acknowledging just how vital it is, often in ways that are unseen until we reflect. So taking a moment to do that before the planetary alignment, which is on the 28th. We have the new moon, I think, as well on the 28th. Doing all you can to restore balance in any areas that you may have conflict, be that beliefs, relationships, your approaches to life, who you are, so that come the planetary alignment, whatever that brings, you are in as much authenticity and integrity of your own soul as you can be. Okay, I want to say doing that every day, but let's get realistic. That feels quite important. The other person that came through this morning was Leo Tsu. I can never say his name right, and there's no pressure there. There's just laughter every time I say it. But one of the ascended masters, and there was a real gentleness there, taking these steps one at a time, one at a time. There is no rush. Lightening it up where you can. That's not to say or suggest bypassing, but there are times when there's happiness there. And there may be moments where we literally grasp onto the side, particularly as we go into spring. We may be grasping onto the side, but that is our responsibility to find those moments. And it is a potential and it is there, but looking at all the things that may be distracting us, not only from we can bypass joy as well. Trust me, I do it on the regular. We can bypass joy as well. So really looking at where we may be distracted and what we may be denying ourselves in those distractions. I can see the Four of Cups in my mind's eye. Yeah, I think that's enough. Gentle, gentle steps. Okay, so when I talk about the planetary alignment, yes, it would be nice to be aligned in every single moment. However, gentle steps, setting in motion a date. You know, when I gave up smoking 3 years ago, when you're giving up a habit, because distractions are a habit, using reasoning or logic to avoid intuition could be a habit. Repetitive patterns, yes, we can learn a lot, but that learning and that repetition can also be a habit. Setting a date for yourself. This is what I would like to achieve by here. Being realistic, being goal orientated. One of the things with the more shamanic perspective is goal orientation on a physical level. Acknowledging where that may be lacking this week. Equally looking at where belief and faith and being able to receive the help that we need may not be in balance as well, which I can also take on board. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to look at the energies this week and how to best navigate them. And it's not about prediction. If that comes up, great. I have quite a few people that contact me and say, oh my gosh, that was right on the money. That's right where I am. That's wonderful. I'm really pleased to hear that. But it's not about prediction per se. It's about what is going on and how you can utilize this information to work with the energies to get the outcome that you're trying to achieve. Okay, so 30 minutes in. I think my computer only records for an hour, so and recognizing that can be enough. You know, I know we're very much in a culture where we have quick fix videos, and many times I've been suggested that I cut back the content, that it isn't as long. Do what works for you, but also recognizing where we can go over and over and over things, where things can take longer than they need to take. And perhaps why or not. All is choice, right? Energies this week and how to best navigate them. There are higher energies coming through. So on a physical level, it's really, really important to drink lots of water, get out into nature. Ensure that your needs are met. Take responsibility for that. It's one thing to be aware of all these insights, but if we don't listen to the medicine and receive what it is we need from it, then it is pure potential. We won't get, well, any healthier, any better. Nothing will change. That's the other thing. There's great resistance to change at the moment. I felt it myself. For me, change comes with loss, because that's a story that has been woven into my life and my ancestors' life. So of course there is resistance to change there. However, one of the biggest wounds from change is trying to control it, avoiding it, yet yearning for it. It can be an addiction. Change itself can be an addiction. Okay, energies this week and how to best navigate them. There is some grief there. There is some acknowledged grief there that things have changed, things have shifted, and allowing our body to catch up with that, allowing our vision to catch up with that. We have changed. So at the bottom we do have the Seven of Swords. And, you know, in this deck in particular, which is the Tower of Dreams, by Cairo Marchetti, again, I wasn't going to use these because the use of human imagery in these decks kind of throws me a little bit, but that feels quite important, that we recognise our humanness, that it's divine. What is that saying? To forgive is divine. I can't remember, but that we recognise our humanity. We recognise the struggles that we've gone through, the values, the concepts of who we've tried to be, the roles that we've held on to, that have, and this one, as you can see, can you see? No, kept him asleep. So carrying all of these roles have been so heavy that it has actually made the masculine fall asleep. This week, if we feel undecided, not knowing what decisions to make, it's because we're basing them on too many roles and too many narratives and too many stories. It's going back to that wisdom from Archangel Michael. Protection comes from acknowledging our needs, and that comes from a deep communication with our intuition and having joy with that, rather than feeling any guilt or shame, or even I'll always find a reason for something, and underneath that there is the acknowledgement that sometimes it's because I feel guilt or shame for what I'm actually feeling. Yes, there's always a reason, but sometimes feelings can be as simple as feelings, and really stepping back into that intuition this week so that our mind doesn't have to continually endure. 7 is endurance, continually endure these different versions of ourselves that we are trying to be. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Overall, okay. Only I would get excited at seeing the devil. But yeah, you know, a lot of these things that are coming forward, just like this cold, just like all these stories that are rising, They are an opportunity to see where we are imprisoning ourselves. They can be really exciting. They are a wonderful chance to bring forth a new light, a new way of seeing ourselves with some humour here. That does mean we are being encouraged to see where we have been caging ourselves in, where we have been playing small, where we have been not playing small. Playing small is this word that is really starting to grate on me. Where we are not being truly honest with who we are and how hard that has made our life, and taking responsibility for that. So I can acknowledge where I've been pushing away the light. I can acknowledge where I have been disassociating from the higher energies, and I can acknowledge how hard that has made my life. With all the reasons and all the lessons in the world, but I can also feel into the yearning that I don't want it to be that way anymore. And this week, that's what this is about. It's one thing to acknowledge where we have been doing certain things and the roles we've been playing. There is going to be a choice. Do we want to continue playing those roles? Now, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? You know, I know myself as X, Y, and Z. The truth of the matter is the energies that I've been pushing away have been coming through very easily, actually, as if I've been doing it for as long as I can remember. I have on a certain level of awareness. However, we may find this week that when we finally open ourselves up to what it is that wants to come through our sacred vessels, what it is that wants to come through as a creation, it's going to move fast, and it's going to be swift, easy, simple, and very powerful. And that is the thing. We can talk about playing small, we can talk about this, we can talk about that, but actually at the end of the day, what a lot of people are avoiding, and I include myself in that, is acceptance of their own light, acceptance of their own power. We can find a million reasons for that. First and foremost is accepting that we're not able to accept it. On the Monday, that will come through with the Eight of Wands. If we can stay in alignment with whatever is occurring, coming back to the heart space, coming back to our light, connecting below us, connecting above us, connecting to this beautiful thing that it is to be human, but also on a soul level. There are a lot of wounds that are being encouraged to be healed with our own soul this week. If we can do that, then yes, things are going to shift quickly. I'm being acknowledged to remember that the new moon with the planetary alignment is also in Pisces. So we are moving into that more psychic, seer-like energy. And come Tuesday, we're going to be given insights into that with the High Priestess. I'm being drawn to see what's on the bottom of her skull. And it says, darkness into darkness, the key to all mystery. I have no concerns about going into the darkness. However, within the darkness, I find the light of my own shadow, which is the light. And it's that I've been avoiding, the darkness of my own light. Come Tuesday, we are going to be shown intuitively what it means to truly step into our own darkness and to be open to the fact that it may not quite be what we expect. On the Wednesday, there is Two of Cups and a sacred union to our emotions, our psyche, our gifts, our abilities. It is, I feel it really linked to our star lineage here. There is resistance. There is resistance in regards to cultures. There is resistance in regards to how we've always seen ourselves. We have two swans at the bottom of the cup, right? The ugly duckling. Many, many, many narratives are going to be seen for what they are by the time we get to Wednesday. They are going to show us energies that are now available to connect to because of the wisdom that we have gained, the intuition that we have gained, the peace that we have gained in who we are or could gain this week. Come the Thursday, that is going to expand the heart, and it does feel as if it's on a collective level. There's coming a large heart expansion or potential of that on the Thursday in the Ace of Cups. It may not be as huge as we all expect. We've got so used to big volcanoes and big election results and big shifts around the world that we have lost sight collectively of the small moments of beauty. Come the Thursday, we may find that something quite simple, that has actually been there all along, really opens our heart up. And what that does is help us ground into what now needs nurturing on the Friday with the Queen of Coins. In this card, she's actually looking away. She's looking to one side. She's not being distracted by what is in front of her. And a lot of the grounding this week is going to come from being in our body, connecting to the earth, connecting to what is going on for us. It's not to say that the external isn't important, but it's an opportunity to look within. What are we creating? How are, in this card, she has the pentagram here, all the elements. How are our elements? Where's our mind at? What are our emotions feeling? You know, what impact is this having on our spirit, on our creativity and the actions that we take? What world are we nurturing into being? Is it coming from what we're seeing? Or is it coming from what is being asked of us as a result? Friday requires discernment on a physical level. Come Saturday, we have the Six of Cups, so a very watery week. I'm not surprised to be getting all of this clearing. Come Saturday, we have the Six of Cups, and there is a nostalgia here for how things used to be, including the storylines from our childhood, including the ones that may not be that great, because they've formed who we believe ourselves to be. And this nostalgia here, the reluctance here, is to allow our inner child to be seen for more than the wounds, to allow our inner innocence to be our inner wild also, our power, to acknowledge how important it is to align to that energy. It doesn't always need healing. It may just need acceptance. On the Sunday, we have the Queen of Wands. But come the Sunday, on the Friday, there's an opportunity to nurture what's going on with us, with the Queen of Pentacles, and to really feel into what we are creating as a result of what we're feeling. On the Saturday, that's an opportunity to be with things that bring us passion and joy and light and fulfillment. Come the Sunday, that's going to give us great clarity in the Queen of Wands. She isn't looking away. She's looking directly in front of her, but she's looking beyond the obvious in this deck. Her eyes do have a mask on, so there is a opportunity there to withdraw with what we've always seen and see past that. Now, what am I seeing here? That is the question to ask on the Sunday. What is it I'm seeing here in my own perception, in the world around me, in my ability to create, in my power, in my passion, in my spirit? And how am I nurturing that? How is my ability to mother all of these things impacting my perception? Okay, so we have two major arcanas this week, and it is the Devil and the High Priestess. And I want to say the Devil is in the details. However, that feels very flippant and very easy. This week, as with all year, step beyond the obvious. It's not about making it hard for yourself, but it is about expanding what you know. It is about expanding how you see who you are. It is about going further into what you feel, for the freedom that that can bring. There's a lot of stagnant growth occurring. There's a lot of samey energy. There's a lot of people remaining in their worlds. Working with the angelic realm has taken me totally out of my comfort zone. There's enough people out there that do that. I'm quite happy to stay where I am. However, it's about merging the two. I'm fully aware that the Moon Ikey speaks of angelic realms. I'm fully aware that the Moon Ikey speaks of galactic realms, of our brothers and sisters. I'm fully aware that there is no separation, but within me there has been. And this week, feeling into the truth of that is what will set us free, individually and then collectively. It will expand our reach also. So we then have two wand cards, and it's the Eight of Wands and the Queen of Wands. By nurturing alignment with our full embodied spirit and soul, all aspects of it, movement will be swift, creativity will be quick. We know what we want. It's about having peace with that, opening our heart to that and being able to receive that on a more sovereign level. That includes accepting, integrating all these aspects of ourselves that we've pushed to one side every time we've known what we wanted. Through reasonings, lessons, whatever you want to call it. We've all done it, right? Healings even. Then we have 3 cup cards. So the actual deliverance, if you will, is going to come through our emotions. The union is about connecting to our spirit. The deliverance is and to the major things that are going on around us, but not getting engulfed in our environment. It's not about getting lost in what's going on in the psyche and the collective. It's about staying in your own stream within the bigger ocean here. Reconnecting and uniting with the soul continuously is going to bring that easy movement, that flow of genius. The actual deliverance is going to come through our emotions. It is about connecting to them, opening our heart, but opening our heart to how things used to be. Also, there's an element of truth in how things used to be. We feel nostalgia because those things called to our heart. They brought us alive. We enjoyed them. We loved them. It's a chance to reflect on them, but also to bring back those components that we may have lost because of X, Y, and Z. I know as a child, I can only imagine as a child with an imagination that was talking to dragons and angels and goodness knows what, living in the world that we do, I know very quickly I had to adapt to that. I know my circumstances changed that. So it's about stepping back to those places where we have pushed those aspects aside, okay, and bringing them full circle in completion, uniting with them in the heart space. Really opening yourself up to your potential as a result. And then we have 1 pentacle card, which is the Queen of Pentacles. I hear a lot of people talking, and I do it myself, talking about the commercialization of the earth, the taking from the earth, the lack of balance, the impact on the earth. Recognize we are a mirror of the earth. Okay, I get a lot of healers that will do so much for the earth and so much for others, but very little for themselves. And I'm just as guilty of this. Recognizing the saying, charity starts at home. Recognizing we can only give from the level that we're at. Okay, so if you want something different to come through, if you want things to be easier, to be simpler, it is about acknowledging the roles that don't fulfill that anymore. It is about acknowledging the stories that no longer align with what you want. Taking responsibility for the body, speaking to the body, conversing and having this change together with the body. Remembering that this body is a gift from the earth, but also a bloody mirror of the earth. It's one thing to look at how the earth is being manipulated, how the earth is being taken from, how the earth may be out of balance, how the earth is clearing. Do we take that same compassion with ourselves? All down, I've just ordered a new book, The Hunger of the Mother, all down to the mother archetype. It's all down to the mother archetype again this week. And if we could hear from my voice. Okay, so what do we need on that? What do we need on the mother archetype that is trying to come through? It doesn't feel like it's about healing. It doesn't feel like it's about what the earth needs. Okay, mother archetype. I'm hearing, I think it's Pink Floyd, something, Mother, where art thou? Do we even know what mothering means to us? What mother would we want right now? What mother would we want to be right now? Are we applying that to everything, all the relationships in our life, all the connections that we have, who we are? You know, I'd love to think that I'm really expansive and inclusive, and yet in my subconscious, in my shadow, I push aside certain energies because of worth, because of value, because of connection, because of old narratives, whatever it may be. The truth of the matter is I'm not being what I believe I am being. When it comes to creating, how can we create something if we don't believe we're capable of it? Okay. Mother archetype, or rather, one more card to close down this reading. There's an excitement there, but also a not wanting to complete things. Not wanting to complete things because that brings forth change, right? Yeah, 10 of Swords and the 10 of Coins, and underneath we have the Lovers. There is a choice here. There is a choice to feel into what is going on mentally and recognise where we have grown, recognise what we have to offer, recognise the help that we need as a result in order to take this now forward. There is a choice of completion here. Both 10s. They're both 10s. What lies beyond what we know? Feeling into that. What comes up when we sense into that? Is there resistance? Is there excitement? What is the step forward now? It can be as simple as, what lies beyond this? What else is there? When we see things, what else is going on? When we feel things, what's the rest of the story? Who else am I? Take care, and I'll see you next week.